World Finals competitors revealed, World Finals track reveal, all of this and more is coming up on this week's edition of Monster Truck News. All of Monster Jam's point series have concluded, and they all came down to the wire. Stadium Series East came down to the very last competition, and in the end, Tyler Menninger won the series championship with a stunning performance in all competitions. Freestyle also had a great showing from all drivers, with some incredible moments from Dalton Widener and Joe Foley. On Stadium Series West, the championship was still highly contested, but in the end, Tristan England won himself his very first Stadium Championship Series and his first driving the JCB Degatron. Action in SoFi Stadium was off the hook, with many incredible freestyles and moments, including 2 jaw-dropping saves from Ryan Anderson. On the other series, Matt Cody safely secures second place on Arena Series Central, while Blake Granger closes out Arena Series East with a dominant weekend. With all points tours coming to a close, all eyes are now on where drivers will be in the World Finals. The World Finals selection show was an excellent way to hype up fans for the World Finals, and there were lots of surprises. This year's World Finals will feature a great roster of competitors, though there has been many names that have been left out of certain competitions and some drivers altogether. The main field for 2025 will feature the following trucks and drivers: Blake Granger and Monster Mutt Dalmatian, Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger, Weston Anderson and Gravedigger, Cody Saucier and Dragon, Brianna Mahan and Scooby-Doo, John Zimmer Jr. and Terminal Velocity, Jamie Sullivan in Sparkle Smash, Tristan England in the JCB Degatron, Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, Adam Anderson in Gravedigger, Todd LeDuc in Megalodon, Bryce Kenny in Monster Mutt,
Caleb Blood in Sparkle Smash, Zach Gunner in Wildside, Mike Pagnuolo in Excalibur,
Tyler Menninger in Gravedigger, Bari Musawa in Zombie, Camden Murphy in Classroom Crusher, Armando Castro in El Toro Loco, Dalton Widener in Jurassic Attack, Colt Stevens in Thunder Roars, Cynthia Gauthier in the Lucas Stabilizer, and Jim Kohler in Avenger. This list contains many expected drivers that were always going to be listed, much to the dismay of fans. Drivers like Kristen Anderson and Caleb Blood I thought were obvious drivers that were always going to make it in. However, some people are very disappointed due to their poor performance on the season, and other drivers arguably more deserving of this spot. However, with the addition of Mike Pagliarulo making his first World Finals alongside the likes of John Zimmer Jr., I am quite satisfied with this year's World Finals roster. There were definitely drivers who were robbed of a main field spot, such as Chris Kohler in Mayhem and Devin Winfield in Velociraptor, but otherwise, this is a very solid lineup. The Last Chance Qualifier will feature 12 drivers battling it out for that coveted final spot, and those drivers are the following: Tony Oaks in Thunder Roars, Ashley Sanford in Megalodon, Fernando Martinez in El Toro Loco, Matt Cody in Gravedigger, MJ Solorio in El Toro Loco, Brandon Talachka in Just Get It Done 2, Triton Robbins in Crazy Train, Chris Kohler in Mayhem, Devin Winfield in Velociraptor, John Zimmer Sr. in Zombie, Cole Vanard in Black Pearl, and Mike Christensen in Vendetta. A lot of great competitors in this lineup, and it's hard to pick a favorite. Drivers like Devin, Fernando, and especially Triton Robbins all deserve these spots and to win the whole competition, but you can't help but want to root for other drivers like Tony Oaks, Chris Kohler, and Matt Cody. Cole Vanard getting demoted to the Last Chance Qualifier is a little unfortunate, but I'm sure he will put up a good fight to earn his way into the main field. The Two-Wheel Skills Challenge this year is very similar to last year's competition and will feature Armando Castro in El Toro Loco, Blake Granger in Monster Mutt Dalmatian, Tristan England in the JCB Degatron, John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity, Weston Anderson in Gravedigger, Tyler Menninger in Gravedigger, Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger, and Jamie Sullivan in Sparkle Smash. New to this year will also feature alternate competitors that will take the place of any driver who cannot compete in the competition when the time comes. Those two drivers for the Two-Wheel Skills Championship are Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack and MJ Solorio in El Toro Loco. This two-wheel skills competition is great, no complaints whatsoever. If I had to be nitpicky, I would change Jamie Sullivan in Sparkle Smash for someone like Fernando Martinez or MJ Solorio, but otherwise, what a great lineup. Finally, the Lucas Oil High Jump Championship will feature an additional 8 trucks with 2 alternates. The main 8 drivers are Colt Stevenson Thunderoris, Caleb Blood and Sparkle Smash, Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, Bryce Kenny and Monster Mart, Camden Murphy and Classroom Crusher, Byron Musara and Zombie, Zach Garner and Wildside, and Jim Kohler in Avenger. The 2 alternate drivers are Jamie Garner in El Toro Loco and Tyler Manninger in Gravedigger. Once again, I really enjoy this lineup. It is interesting to see though that Cynthia Gauthier is not part of this lineup, considering the sponsor of the competition. However, I am super happy to see Jim back in this competition alongside the debut of Zach Garner. This championship will be another event to look forward to. The track was a highly talked about subject going into this year's event and what the racing style would look like. And in all honesty, this year's simplicity I think will make it the best of both worlds. Last year's racing course was easily one of the best, if not the best, of all time, but it was severely lacking in freestyle. This year, however, there is a balance of tricky racing and enough room to breathe for freestyle. The track is essentially Jersey style from the mid-2010s, only this time they start on a pod and they go up banked turns that go up into the stands. The obstacles on the track are spaced out enough in my eyes to make freestyle not too disastrous like last year, but also not too boring where there is just nothing to do. If they steepen some ramps and possibly alter other jumps, it will for sure make for an interesting event. At least I hope so. A lot of other news to the World Finals has been revealed. There will be an all-new Gravedigger Stars and Stripes scheme on display. Unknown at the moment who will be running it. And I have to admit that this is easily the worst looking Gravedigger by far.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
And there is only one reason why I think this looks so bad. The ghost has been replaced with fireworks. Everything else looks really good. I love the theming with the hood, the roof, and even the graveyard on the side panels. It looks awesome. But no ghost just completely ruins the look of the whole truck. It just looks extremely cheap, and surely they could have made a design with the fireworks lighting up some sort of ghostly figure. I think that would have looked amazing. However, it is what it is, and we are stuck with this. Speaking of new schemes, more schemes are set to be reviewed later on in the coming weeks. It's possible more trucks will receive a Stars and Stripes scheme, such as El Toro Loco. Let's just hope that the others look better than whatever Gravedigger is supposed to be. The judges panel has also been revealed. So far, only 3 of the judges have been announced, with 2 additional judges to be reviewed later on. Those 3 so far are Dennis Anderson, Tom Mance, and Heavy D. It will be great to see the legends of the sport, and I suppose Heavy D, helping setting the standards for the weekend's competitions. With 2 additional people to be announced, hopefully the panel is balanced out either with past icons or current drivers who know how to accurately score. One of the encores has been revealed as well. Based on the upcoming Spin Master playset, JCB Diggatron will take on the Smash Bot in a stunt to kick off Saturday night. As for Friday night's encore, it has not been revealed yet, but if I had to guess, it will most likely be the reveal of Wreck Deck, a truck based on the Tech Deck toys, and has been rumored to be a truck that will debut soon. Finally, the groups that drivers will be set to have been revealed as well. Group 1 will race on Friday night, and then freestyle on Saturday night, with this group featuring Adam Anderson, Caleb Blood, Armando Castro, Tristan England, Blake Granger, Jim Kohler, Todd LeDuc, Brianna Mahan, Tyler Manninger, Barry Musawa, Colt Stevens, and Dalton Widener. Group 2 will freestyle on Friday night, and then race on Saturday night, with this group featuring Kristen Anderson, Ryan Anderson, Weston Anderson, Zach Garner, Cynthia Gauthier, Bryce Kenny, Camden Murphy, Mike Pagliarulo, Cody Saucier, Jamie Sullivan, John Zimmer Jr., and the Last Chance qualifier. While unconfirmed at the moment, with the setup of this entire event, it is very likely that qualifying will be quite unconventional compared to previous years. It's already been revealed that qualifying will be based on these groups, and their times will depend on how they are seeded into the bracket. To give a visual example, I randomized a bracket of one of the groups. The top 4 of Group 1 automatically advance into Round 2, with the other 8 having to make it past Round 1. And then of course, the runner-up and winner of Night 1 will go on to face the winner and runner-up of Night 2. This is most likely how the racing championship will play out. Overall, with a great track, a great roster of trucks, and an interesting new format, I'm excited to see this event play out very soon. I hope to see more World Finals news coming up in the next few weeks. Monster Jam has revealed the roster for a large majority of events taking place this fall and summer. The following list contains all of the lineup changes and roster reveals. St. Paul, Minnesota now has listed Fernando Martinez as the El Toro Loco driver. Edmonton now has Brandon Arthur driving JCB Digatron and a to-be-announced driver in Monster Rottweiler. Raleigh now has the Hall brothers added to their lineup. Orlando also will feature the Hall brothers instead of the Garners, Zach and Jamie Garner. Sunrise now has the Garners, Cole, Zach, and Jamie instead of the Talachkas and the Hall brothers. Tampa now has Fernando Martinez driving El Toro Loco instead of Tony Oaks and Thunderoris. Los Angeles has been added to their schedule, taking place from August 22nd to August 24th for 5 shows and will be a Freestyle Mania event. Newark, New Jersey will now feature Cole Vernard instead of the Talachkas. Tampa has now confirmed to have Uproar driven by John Zimmer Sr. Savannah, Georgia has revealed their lineup, that being El Toro Loco with MJ Solorio, Grave Digger with Weston Anderson, JCB Digatron with Brandon Arthur, Excalibur with Mike Pagliarulo, Kraken with Nick Pagliarulo, Terminal Velocity with John Zimmer Jr., and Uproar, John Zimmer Sr. There will also be a to-be-announced truck and driver. Rosemont has revealed their lineup, that will feature El Toro Loco with Armando Castro, Weston Anderson and Grave Digger, Lucas Stabilizer with Cynthia Gauthier, Just Get It Done with Brandon Talachka, Megalodon with Michaela Talachka, Terminal Velocity with John Zimmer Jr., and Uproar, John Zimmer Sr. There will also be a to-be-announced truck and driver. Calgary has revealed their lineup, that will feature Classroom Crusher with Camden Murphy, Grave Digger with Tyler Manninger, JCB Digatron with Tristan England, Sparkle Smash with Kayla Blood, Earthshaker, Alex Barden, Jurassic Attack, Tim Hall Jr., Velociraptor, Devin Winfield, and a to-be-announced driver in Monster Rottweiler. Tacoma will have a Monster Jam event taking place from September 19th to September 21st with 4 shows. This lineup will feature Fernando Martinez in El Toro Loco, Grave Digger with Weston Anderson, Lucas Stabilizer with Cynthia Gauthier, Velociraptor, Devin Winfield, a to-be-announced driver in Monster Rottweiler and Jurassic Attack, and a to-be-announced driver and truck. St. Louis has revealed their lineup. This will feature Classroom Crusher with Camden Murphy, El Toro Loco with Armando Castro, Grave Digger with Tyler Manninger, JCB Digatron with Tristan England, Sparkle Smash with Kayla Blood, Jurassic Attack with Dalton Widener, Vendetta with Mike Christensen, Overboard with Jamie Garner, Wildside with Zach Garner, Terminal Velocity with John Zimmer Jr., Zombie with John Zimmer Sr., and a to-be-announced truck and driver. Syracuse will now feature John Zimmer Sr. in Zombie. San Juan, Puerto Rico is added to Monster Jam's schedule, taking place from October 31st through to November 2nd for 4 shows. And finally, Dayton, Ohio has been added to the schedule, taking place from November 29th to November 30th for 3 shows. It appears that Rammunition will be retiring, and an all-new identity will be debuting very soon. On Kurt Kramer's story, which is now expired, Kurt wrote the following. Last run for Rammunition, 2002 to 2025. You've had one hell of a run, and it's been an honor to be amongst your many story drivers. Fear not, something new is coming. It is unknown what this new identity could be. However, it is likely to be revealed in Athens, Georgia, as the Hall brothers are currently scheduled for this event. However, it could very easily debut before Athens, Georgia. And well, that is all we have for you today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon with some more Monster Truck content.